Let me tell you, the first thing you need to know about Elena Rodriguez is that she never played by the unspoken rules, the ones that kept things comfortable for everyone but safe for no one. Yeah, she was a technical pilot, the kind who didn't just fly helicopters but put her name on the line every time she signed off on a test flight. And believe me, nobody in the command structure liked that. Elena was notorious for being that person, refusing gifts, refusing shortcuts, refusing to let a single faulty bolt slide just because it made the paperwork easier. She'd once grounded a whole batch of Black Hawks over a tiny misalignment in the tail rotor. Not that it made her any friends, but it did save lives. That's the kind of thing that gets you whispered about in hangars. You know what I mean? So when she walked into work that morning, coffee in hand, and noticed how the usual banter among the mechanics had turned into awkward silence, well, let's just say her instincts started buzzing like a live wire. Chief Warrant Officer Martinez tossed her the day's assignment with the warmth of a parking ticket. We need this bird back in service by 1400. Don't overthink it, Elena. The helicopter was a UH-60 Black Hawk, supposedly fresh from routine maintenance. But the logs? They told another story: rushed signatures, missing safety checks, the kind of corner cutting that gets people killed. The only one who bothered to pull her aside was Sergeant Murphy, voice low. Ma'am, they wouldn't give this bird to anyone else. If it goes down, it's pilot error, not the system. That's how they cover themselves. Elena climbed into the cockpit anyway, her gut in knots, but her mind clear. She wasn't flying because she trusted them. She was flying because she didn't. The minute she fired up the engines, the whole machine felt wrong, like it was holding itself together through sheer willpower. 3 minutes into the flight, everything started to go sideways. Gauges spinning in reverse, alarms wailing, and a vibration so violent it rattled her teeth. Any other pilot might have panicked or tried to limp home, but Elena? She switched to manual, killed the bogus central control, and started checking every backup system, narrating her findings into her headset for the record. And that's when it got real. She found deliberate sabotage, reversed wiring, bolts that didn't match, a whole electrical system set up to fail only once airborne. This wasn't incompetence, this was criminal. The control tower's reply to her mayday, cool, can't, continue standard emergency procedures, told her everything she needed to know. They weren't surprised. They were expecting it. But Elena brought the bird down anyway, textbook emergency landing, and walked away ready to file the incident report of her life. Except, and here's where it gets good, Martinez met her on the tarmac, wouldn't meet her eyes, and said, "No need for a report. We'll handle this internally. You're released for the day." That was the first time in 8 years nobody wanted her paperwork, and that told Elena everything she needed to know about how deep the rot went. That night, sleep wouldn't come. So at 2 a.m. she went back to the hangar, used her clearance, and started taking photos. Reversed wiring, mismatched bolts, the whole ugly truth. Then she opened the main control panel and found it. A recalled circuit board with a history of catastrophic failure, stamped with a part number that should have been nowhere near a functioning aircraft. A BY morning. Murphy slid her a manila envelope. Copies of the real maintenance logs, time-stamped and ugly. Inspections backdated, signatures forged, checks that should take hours signed off in 20 minutes. A pattern emerging, and it wasn't carelessness. It was a conspiracy. Defective parts being installed, records being falsified, and every time a pilot died, it was written off as pilot error. That's how you keep a system broken and protect the guilty. So, what did Elena do? The unexpected. She requested to fly the same helicopter again, but this time, with the whole command staff, manufacturer reps, and safety inspectors watching. People thought she was crazy, or maybe suicidal. Martinez nearly dropped the paperwork. But Elena was deadly calm at the briefing, told them straight up, "I want you all to see this with your own eyes. I want this on record." She'd spent 3 days installing cameras, prepping charts, lining up every angle, so there'd be no denying what was about to happen. Mid-flight, the chopper started its old tricks: shaking, system failures, alarms. But this time Elena didn't immediately correct course. She let it all play out, made sure the witnesses felt that terror in their bones, and then, with nerves of steel, brought the bird down in a maneuver so perfect it should be studied in flight schools. When she stepped out, she was already pulling out evidence, giving a presentation right there on the tarmac. Photos, logs, video, even bank records showing how the contractor paid off base personnel. What started as an attempted cover-up exploded into the biggest procurement scandal the base had seen in years. Within a day, engineers were suspended, Martinez was out, and the contractor was facing criminal charges. But Elena didn't stop there. Her investigation showed the company had bribed officials at bases in 3 states, pushing defective parts and pocketing millions. 14 people faced court-martial. The contractor lost $60 million in contracts. The scale of it was sickening, but finally, someone had forced the system to look itself in the mirror. When they asked her why she'd risked everything for a second flight, her answer cut through the courtroom like a scalpel. Dead pilots can't testify. I flew so someone would live to tell the truth. Her words spread through the ranks, not because she was some glory hound, but because every mechanic, every pilot who'd ever worried about signing off on a shortcut, finally felt seen. Here's the thing, though. Elena turned down the medals, the promotion, the big assignment at the Pentagon. She didn't want it. Instead, she asked to teach, to new aviators, mechanics, anyone who'd listen. Your signature, she told them, is a promise to the pilot's family that you'll do everything to bring them home. She wasn't easy on her students, but she taught them what mattered. Don't let the pressure make you lower your standards. Don't ever ignore your instincts, and don't let honest people stand alone. She wrote a motto across her whiteboard. No technical error is small if it can take a life. People started quoting her in hangars. Pilots started checking their aircraft twice. Mechanics refused to rush jobs, not out of fear, but out of respect. Yeah, they tried to break her spirit with a broken helicopter. Instead, they ended up building a legend and raising the bar for safety across the entire field. And you know what? Elena never needed the spotlight, never wrote a book, never went on TV. Her legacy lived in every safe landing, every honest report, every time someone had the guts to ask, is this right? Instead of, is this enough? So let me ask you, in your life, in your work, when you see something that doesn't sit right, do you speak up? Or do you let it slide because it's easier? That's what I want to know. Drop your thoughts below. Where do you draw the line between keeping the peace and doing what's right? Because, in the end, that's the only way things ever really change.